Welcome to 21st Sports Recap and Reaction for the Arizona Cardinals at the Cleveland Browns in their Week 8 matchup played November 1st, 2015. We're going to go over all the scores and the stats and give our breakdown and analysis. So starting off in the first quarter, with about 8 minutes still left in the quarter, Carson Palmer hit Troy Nicholas for an 11-yard touchdown. Catanzaro added the extra point, and it was 7-0 Arizona in the lead over Cleveland. But then with less than 3 minutes left still in the first, Josh McCown hit Brian Hartline for a 10-yard touchdown. Travis Coons added the extra point, and it was tied up at 7. So that was the score after 1. So in the second quarter, just seconds into the second quarter, Josh McCown throws his second touchdown of the game. This one to Gary Barnidge, a 3-yard touchdown pass. Coons adds the extra point, and it was 14-7 as the Browns took the lead for the first time in this game. Then with about 5 minutes left before halftime, McCown threw his third touchdown pass of the game, his second one to Brian Hartline, and it was a 2-yard touchdown, but that extra point failed, and so it was 20-7. But then in the closing seconds of the first half, Chandler Catanzaro hit a 37-yard field goal, and it was now a 10-point game with the score 20-10 as the Browns went into the locker room at halftime up by 2 scores. So now in the third quarter, with about 12 minutes still left in the third, Carson Palmer hits Michael Floyd for a 60-yard touchdown. Catanzaro adds the extra point. It was a 3-point game with the score 20-17 as the Cardinals are right on the Browns' heels. And then with 7.5 minutes still left in the third, Carson Palmer hits Troy Nicholas, and it's a 1-yard touchdown pass. Catanzaro adds the extra point, and the Cardinals were in the lead for the first time since scoring the first touchdown of the game in the first quarter, as they were now up 24-20. So that was the score after 3. Then in the fourth quarter, with about 9.5 left to play, Carson Palmer hits Larry Fitzgerald, and it's a 6-yard touchdown pass. Catanzaro adds the extra point, and it's 31-20 as the Cardinals extended their lead to 11. Then with just over 2 minutes left to play, Catanzaro hits a 35-yard field goal, and the Cards were up by 14 with the score 34-20. They would hold on to win this one, and the Cardinals improved to 6-2 on the season. They're 3-1 on the road, and the Browns are 1-3 at home, 2-6 on the year. And Arizona was able to overcome 4 turnovers in this game as they scored 27 unanswered points after being down 20-7 in the first half. And that was about 5 minutes before halftime. Of course, they scored that field goal right at the end of the first half, and then they scored 24 points in the second half while blanking the Browns. So the Browns, all their points came in the first half. They didn't score at all in the third or fourth quarter. And the Cardinals, they made the adjustments at halftime, that's for sure. And they pulled off the road victory against the Browns, even with the mistakes that they made in the first half. We look at Carson Palmer's numbers on the game: 23 for 38, 374 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And after the game, Palmer said that it was the best offensive play calling he's seen since Pee Wee. So Josh McCown was 18 for 34 in this game, 217 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He also had 5 carries for 18 yards to be the Browns' leading rusher. Before the Cardinals, Chris Johnson, the ageless one, he had as many carries as his age. He had 30 carries, 109 yards. This is another monster game for Johnson. And for the receivers, Malcolm Floyd, 4 receptions for 106 yards and a touchdown. As Floyd came up big in this game once again. Michael Floyd, rather, not Malcolm. Malcolm Floyd is the Chargers. Michael Floyd, though, coming up big for Arizona once again. And Larry Fitzgerald, 9 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown. And for the Browns, Johnson had 2 receptions for 68 yards, the rookie running back. And Gary Barnidge had 7 receptions for 53 yards and a touchdown. Brian Hartline, 4 receptions for 32 yards and 2 touchdowns. Gabriel had 4 receptions for 32 yards as well. Let me look at the kickers. Canton Zaro, 2 for 2 on the field goals, 4 for 4 on the extra points as he was perfect on the game. And Travis Coons, 2 for 3 on the extra points. He did not attempt a field goal. And for Arizona, Johnson had an interception and Freeney forced a fumble. He also had a sack. And for Cleveland, Dansby forced a fumble. Bryant had a sack, and Bryant also had a forced fumble. The 2 different Bryants, not the same Bryant, as it was actually Desmond Bryant with the sack. And so then for Williams actually had 2 forced fumbles, and Gibson had an interception. So the 4 forced fumbles for the Browns, but they were not able to capitalize on those turnovers and turn them into too many points. We saw the first downs, 25 first downs for Arizona, 16 first downs for Cleveland. When it came to third downs, that's where Arizona really shined. 13 for 16, 81% converted on third down for the Cardinals. And for Cleveland, 9 of 16, 56% converted. They went for it once on fourth down. They did not convert. Total net yards, 491 for the Cards, 254 for the Browns. Net rushing yards, 119 for Arizona, 39 for Cleveland. Net passing yards, 372 for the Cardinals. Palmer sacked once for a loss of 2 yards. And for the Browns, 215 netted through the air, as they allowed 1 sack for an 8-yard loss. And then we look at the penalties, 7 penalties against the Browns for 35 yards and 5 penalties against the Cardinals for 25 yards. And then the fumbles, 4 fumbles, they lost 3 of them, and the Browns actually fumbled 3 times but only lost 1. We look at the red zone. The Browns were 3 for 3 in the red zone, 100%. The Cardinals 3 for 5, 60% in the red zone. And the time of possession, 34 minutes and 23 seconds for the Cardinals, 25 minutes, 37 seconds for the Browns. So it's really a tale at 2 halves in this game, as it was all Cleveland early on in this one. But then, after making those adjustments at halftime, the Cardinals turned things around, and it was all Arizona in that second half, as they outscored them 24-0 in the third and fourth quarters. 14 in the third, 10 in the fourth, and they sealed the deal as they came up clutch in the second half and called Carson Palmer a big day with the 4 touchdowns. Of course, 3 of those coming in the second half, 2 of those in the third quarter, as he came up big time when it counted the most. Like I said, in the Browns, they got those turnovers, but they really weren't able to capitalize too much on those. So they were only able to turn those 4 turnovers into just 7 points. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Definitely interested to read your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much for listening. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a good day and had a great weekend and enjoyed all the sports.